Hello everyone, Charles Watts here, the Arsenal correspondent at Goal, joining you on, what day is it today? Thursday, isn't it? Honestly, impossible to keep track of the days this week. It's been so absolutely mad. Just been speaking to Mikel Arteta in his press conference. It was supposed to be about the Everton game on Friday night, but obviously, as you can imagine, it was absolutely dominated by talk of just one thing, and that was the Super League. So I thought I'd come on here as usual and do a round up from the press conference, talk about what Mikel Arteta had to say, but I'd do it as a live this week because I know there's been lots and lots of interest in the Super League, lots of comments from you guys about it all. And lots of you asking me to do one of these Q&As, so I will do it at the end. I'll throw the floor open to you guys at the end, and you can vent your anger, have your say, ask questions, whatever you want to do. But I will first, before we get to that, I will first just go through what Mikel had to say, so you can hear it, and then at the end of that we can go back. So please don't think I'm ignoring you, first of all, if you're sending in all your comments and your questions. I'm not. I'm just going to get to them at the end. So we'll end with the Q&A section. But obviously so much to talk about today. He talked about what's gone on this week at the training ground. He talked about Stan Kroenke's apology, the Kroenke's apology, what the players have been feeling. He talked about the Kroenke out protests that are coming on Friday night at the Emirates. So lots and lots of stuff to discuss. Well, first, here's what he had to say when he was asked, how did he first find out about the Super League? This is what Mikel had to say. He said, I found out a little bit before the news was leaked, then everything was completely out of control and the world reacted in a really unified manner. I didn't really have time to think about it, reflect, evaluate or anything, because by the time it was out, a big tsunami already came to basically kill it. Then when asked who spoke to him from the board, he said, Vinay spoke to me and explained a little bit about what was happening in the process just before it was announced. And he was very clear and transparent to me. I understand the reasons why we could not know. Obviously, we were not involved in this decision and we understood the logic of it. Then he was asked, who apologised? Did anyone apologise to you? And he said, yes, starting from Kroenke right through to starting from Vinay, the ownership and everybody that is involved in the process, all of them with the right intentions to defend the club and put the club in the best possible position for now and the future, but accepting that the way it had been handled had terrible consequences and that it was a mistake. I really have to respect that when people have genuine intentions to do the best for the football club, but it doesn't happen or not the right thing, that they can stand up here and apologise. I'm speaking for myself, and I think the players, staff and everybody working at the club, we have to accept that and move on. It's been handled in a good way internally. So I just seen someone saying there that Arteta sort of sucked up to the Kroenkes during the press conference. I don't think he did, but again, I'll get to that at the end. You can have your say. I thought he was quite open and about it all. When he said, did the Kroenkes apologise? He said, I had some communication from them. I spoke with them yesterday, and those communications were in the same terms as always. Every time we need something, and every time something's happening, they are straight away and ready to act, to give the answers. He said they apologised. He said absolutely. Obviously, they have the maximum responsibility of running the football club, and this is what they said. They apologised for disturbing the team, not having the capacity to communicate and explain the reasons why. They wanted me to pass that on to the players. So basically saying everyone apologised there. Quickly, before I get to getting your guys' views on what has happened, he talked about the fans. I thought this was the best thing he had to say during the whole press conference. Mikel was a really, really good, strong quote from him about the reaction to the fans, to the whole Super League and how it panned out. He says, this has given a big lesson, and it shows the importance of football in the world. It shows that the soul of this sport belongs to the fans, and that's it. During the pandemic for a year, we've been trying to sustain the industry with no fans in the stadium. But when the fans have to come out and talk, they've been really loud and clear. They've sent probably the strongest message that has ever been sent in the football world. Every club leaving their interest apart has done the right thing, which is listen to them. We have to listen to them. We put it out within 48 and within 24 hours, they killed the project. That's a massive statement in the history of football. And yes, it absolutely is. And then obviously we've got the Kroenke out protests, the big Kroenke out protest that is coming on Friday night at the Emirates. I've got a feeling it's going to be pretty big, as I've spoken about in previous videos. It's going to be a bit of a perfect storm for Arsenal, this one. Sunny day, Friday night. Had all week to mobilise. I think it's going to be pretty big. I'll be very surprised. Reese there's asking if I'm going to the protest tomorrow. I'm hopefully going to get there in time. Unfortunately, I can't leave my house until just after 6 o'clock because my wife's working and I'm looking after the kids and she hasn't finished work till 6 o'clock. So as soon as that happens, I can get in my car and drive up there. But it takes me an hour and a bit. So I wouldn't be surprised if I end up getting stuck outside on the roads in the middle of all the protests, but I'll be doing my best to get up there and covering it. But if not, I'll certainly be sharing all the videos that I'm seeing of it, because it's going to be great to see the fans voice their opinion about how ridiculous this whole thing has been and how awful the ownership of Arsenal is by Stan Kroenke. So anyway, just quickly talking about what Mikel had to say about the protests. He said the fans have to express that is their right and they have to do it freely. For me, what it shows is the power and capacity when they show that determination and passion to achieve what they want. If we can use this with our fans to support the team, I think it'll be incredibly powerful and it will make us much stronger. It's time to leave them to express themselves, and now somehow we have to engage them again, get closer to us, to believing in what we do. If we do that, we'll be in a much better place. We know we might have a situation outside the stadium because our fans want to express their feelings, and our job is to try and make the team as focused as possible to perform on the match. There was loads more. Please just head over to the Arsenal website if you want to read the full transcript of what Mikel Arteta says. It's a really interesting interview. Press conference, just like him and all the rest of them, they've absolutely hung out to dry by the owners. They're the ones facing up and having to take all these questions. There were so many. The press conference went on after the bit that you've seen now when it comes to the newspaper section, went on for another sort of 20 minutes, all based on this. And he didn't shut it down. He didn't try to shut it down. Arsenal didn't, to their credit, try and shut it down, because we've seen that has happened at other clubs this week. They let it flow. They let him answer all the questions. But yeah, it was just, as usual, the manager having to front up. The players probably going to have to front up again after the game on Friday. Josh Kroenke will be speaking today to some Arsenal fans at a fans forum. It's only a small closed forum of supporters groups who will be involved in that. I think there have been pre-submitted questions. I don't know if he'll end up taking any questions that just get submitted from the floor. It's only going to be a short period of time, I think about half an hour. So it's not exactly brave of Josh Kroenke. He's not throwing it out there to everyone. I think Arsenal will probably do a recording from it and put it out on their website. I imagine that is due to happen at 4:30 p.m, that fans forum, with Josh Kroenke and Vinai Venkatesham. Obviously, Stan isn't involved. He's staying silent, hiding behind everyone else, not doing anything, because that's what he always does and that's what he always will do. And he's leaving it to his son to come and face the music. But even then, it's not really facing the music because it's in this closed off fans forum rather than speaking to everyone openly. Okay, right, that's it. Let's get going, shall we? Start sending in your questions, comments. What do you think about the whole thing? What do you think should happen next? How much do you want Kroenke out? Are you going to the protests on Friday? Come on, let's get going. Let's have a look. And we'll start there. Edwin, any reason as to why Arteta never gave support or no support to the Super League? I think he did give no support to the Super League. He said that it's not. He said I haven't got the full quote here, but he certainly said that he felt that it wasn't competition unless it's earned it. That it wasn't right. So I think he did, really. Rude Boy will be there on Friday, of course. Charles, do you think the Kroenkes can recover from this? I think they can. They've got a history of doing it, because let's face it, they're not going to come over here and face the music, are they? It's not like they're going to have to be here week in, week out and face the fans' unrest. Do they even care about fans' unrest? I mean, this is Stan Kroenke you're talking about. This is a man who is from Missouri, who took the St. Louis Rams from his home state and moved it to LA. So I don't think he cares about fans, really. Doesn't care about what they're thinking. The fact he's not over here makes it even easier for him to ignore what's all going on. Does he even take an interest in Arsenal during the week and what's going on? I think they can certainly come back from it, yeah, because I just don't think they can come to the decision, well, it doesn't really matter. I think the key thing is what happens now. This is the Arsenal fan base is mobilising again here about Stan Kroenke, and it's not a case of just protests of get out, get out, get out. The Arsenal Supporters Trust, the AST, are also working with government and people like that to try and bring in a change to how ownership works. That could be the thing that really shifts the landscape when it comes to the likes of Stan Kroenke and people like that. Can fans get brought onto the board? Can they have a say in how ownership runs? Can new regulations be put in by government? That's what a lot of supporters groups now are really pressing for, rather than trying to take on a billionaire who's not even a country, which is really hard to do. Can you get legislation changed that the government steps in and makes it more difficult? And also, when you think with Stan Kroenke, he's been here since he's arrived at Arsenal. He's been happy to just plod along where they are. He's making the money. He doesn't have to spend he doesn't spend anything. He never has done, because he doesn't do that. What Arsenal spend, what they earn. But now they're beginning to lose money for the first time. The last couple of years, they're beginning to lose money. And that is the thing. And that's why this was his dream, the Super League, because that was going to protect him. That was going to protect his bank balance. That was going to start bringing money in. But now that's been taken away. Could that change? Could this be the first time that the Kroenkes really think about selling? Because the cash cow that they were hoping for has been taken away, and it's been left with what we're seeing at the moment, which is Arsenal, which is the football club that's outside of the Champions League, which is losing money and is losing an awful lot of money. So maybe that will change it, and for the first time there could be a glimpse of Stan Kroenke looking to sell the club. But just going by past history and what he does and how it works, he doesn't tend to do that. So we'll have to wait and see. AJS, wear a mask and be safe, everyone going to the protest tomorrow. Yes, I agree with that, absolutely. Charles, what's your opinion on the 50+1 rule being brought to the Premier League? That's something. It would be great. Something along those lines would be great, I think, and it would stop these absolute billionaire owners just using clubs as their playthings and not taking fans for granted. I think what this whole thing has showed us this week is that they don't care about fans in the slightest. The fact they tried to push this through, muscle it through without even communicating with fans is an absolute disgrace. And it's just shown us more than ever that they don't care about fans. So if fans can somehow be able to come on board and have a major say in the club, then absolutely fantastic. Do you think there's a way of punishing the owners without affecting the club? No, I don't really, to be honest. Dangote update. I mean, I don't have an update on Dangote. I'm afraid we all know what he's been saying over the last few years, but it's never come to fruition yet. He keeps talking about when he finishes this oil refinery outside Lagos, then he'll make a move for Arsenal. That seems to be happening this year in terms of that refinery being finished. So will he make his move? Will he back up his words and make a move for Arsenal? Time will tell. But in terms of me, I don't have Dangote's number like someone's asking there. Unfortunately not. We don't know what the action being taken by FIFA, UEFA, the Premier League, anything like that is just yet on the clubs. That's still to come, still to be decided. Hassan says, Kroenke put his cards on the table and lost. Absolutely. He says, now we know what his real intentions are. He must be dealt with 100%. And that's why, I'm fully supportive of this protest tomorrow and what's going to come. I do just have to say, be careful if you're going to the protest tomorrow. Remember, we are in the COVID era. Protests shouldn't really be happening. People shouldn't really be getting close. I know that it's going to happen anyway. So just be careful when you go there. Put your masks on. Try and stay as far away as you possibly can from people, but be loud and make your voices heard. Balogun's contract, people talking in non-ESL terms there. I couldn't see who it was who asked that question, but that'll be answered very, very soon. That will come out. The confirmation is all we're waiting for on that. It's a 4-year contract, done and dusted, been agreed. I don't know whether he's actually signed it yet. There is talk that he has, but I don't know if that's actually true. I haven't had confirmation on it, but it is happening. He'll sign his new contract. Matt Ryan transfer update. Arsenal will be waiting until the summer, as far as I'm aware, to get that done for Matt Ryan, if that is the way they're going to go. I'm still not absolutely convinced it is. I know there has been stories that they are very close in advanced talks with Matt Ryan. I think they're going to wait till the summer. I still expect them to bring a goalkeeper, absolutely. Whether it's Ryan or they go for a bigger, more expensive keeper who's going to really put pressure on Burton Leno for the number 1 spot, I'm not sure yet. Who leads the line tomorrow in the absence of Lacazette and Aubameyang? I think it will probably end up being Nketiah, to be honest. I think it'll stick. I think it'll be Nketiah. Personally, I'd play Martinelli there. I'd play Martinelli as a central striker. I'd have Pepe on the left and Saka on the right with Smith Rowe at the number 10. But I've got a sneaky feeling he might go with Nketiah. If Stan gives a war chest, is all forgiven. No, and he won't give a war chest. Absolutely won't give a war chest. No chance. Never has done, never will do, especially not in the middle of this pandemic time. It won't give a war chest. And even if it does, no, it can't be forgotten. No one should ever forget what these guys have tried to do in the last week. Absolutely. Do they ever request for you to not ask questions about a topic in a press conference? Says Paul Burden. No, never happened. And they couldn't do something like that. It's an open press conference. There's no way they could do something like that. I know some people seem to believe that is the case, and that clubs can tell you what to do, or they can threaten you with being banned or something like that if you ask difficult questions they don't like. But it's absolutely not the case. It's never happened at Arsenal, and I've been covering them for years. Never happened there, and I can't imagine it ever will be. God, these things are coming so quickly. I can't even see. Wait. Is Odegaard going to be in the squad, says Edwin? We don't know yet. He is training today, Mikel said. So, hopefully if he comes through that all right, he's got a chance. Do you think Arteta backed Kroenke too much? To say he's had great communication with them, which is surely a lie. I don't know if it is a lie, to be honest. I'm only going on what Mikel said. I don't know for sure. I don't have access to their phone records or email records, but he's always said they've been in very good communication when it comes to them and him. He's obviously rubbish in communicating when it comes to the fans, but I think in terms of that direct route from Arteta to them, if it ever needs to be discussed, that they're quite willing to talk to him. So I don't know if he's lying, because I don't have his phone records or his email records, but Arteta has always said that the owners have been open to anything when it comes to him. Could Flamini invest as part of the Arsenal group? I don't know. Look, that's just a story that's always gone on, isn't it? That Flamini's going to be end up being one of the richest people in the world. He's always said that he's not, and that that everyone sort of forecasts the money that he's going to make, but in fact he doesn't actually have much of it at all. So I highly doubt Flamini's going to get involved now. Lots of Kroenke out messages coming up. I hope you're all going to take those boards and banners with you to the protest tomorrow, those of you who are going. Gosh, so many of these are flicking through so quickly I can't even read them. I will, by the way, do a normal video tomorrow. This whole week has been very Super League dominated. I'm very aware of that, so I will do a video tomorrow where I talk as little as possible about that. Obviously, we've got Josh Kroenke's talk with the fans today, so I have to discuss what was said at that. But other than that, I will focus on the Everton game a little bit tomorrow, because I'm sure you're probably all a little bit Super Leagued out. Will the team's performance be affected like the Chelsea versus Brighton game? Hopefully not. You can't imagine their heads are going to be all over the place. Mikel admitted that it might be. He's been doing his best to try and protect them this week from all that. But I think you saw in the Chelsea-Brighton game that it certainly had an effect on Chelsea, and I wouldn't be surprised, especially. It's going to be interesting to see what happens in terms of teams getting to the stadiums tomorrow. Will Arsenal try and get the team there early before the protest, just to make sure they avoid that whole thing of the coach going through the streets and getting blocked by the fans, that sort of things they might do, just because that will surely have an effect on the players as well. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see. If you could ask Josh Kroenke one question, what would it be? When are you selling? That would be my first question to Josh Kroenke. Will Lacazette be ready for Villarreal? I doubt it. I just think it's just... I know Arsenal haven't ruled him out yet, but if it's a hamstring strain, you don't tend to come back to that in the space of about a week or just over a week. So I'd be very surprised if he's all right to play Villarreal, I have to say. I think you've got more likely that Aubameyang will be involved against Villarreal than Lacazette, but we'll have to wait and see. Arsenal certainly not ruling him out yet. Do you think the club will cut ties with Wrighty after his Kroenke out tweet? I certainly hope not. It's just expressing his opinion. He's not employed by the club or anything like that. He may get involved with the club from time to time, and certainly in certain projects, but he's not employed by the club. So I would absolutely hope not. Ian Wright's done far more for this club than Stan Kroenke ever will. So I absolutely hope not. Opinion on Vinay, says Hassi, but I think he's in a way he's unlucky, because he's just been, what's he going to do? He's the chief exec. The owners are the ones who've done this. Make no mistake about it. This is all Stan Kroenke. I know the feeble well, not feeble. Well, there was a feeble letter that they put to fans on Friday night. On Tuesday night, was signed off from the Arsenal board. But I mean, the Arsenal board is a board in name only. Stan Kroenke is the sole owner of the club. This is his decision. Everything that has been done this week has been done by Stan Kroenke. Vinay is in the unfortunate position of being the chief exec, so he's kind of had to go along with it unless he was going to resign in protest. It's not really going to happen. So unfortunately, he's kind of complicit with it all in that, and if he has to fall by the wayside, he has to fall by the wayside. That's what happens. He's given up his seat on the ECA. That was proved to be a huge mistake. So yeah, I like Vinay, and when I've seen him, I think he's a nice, genuine guy. He's obviously very young. He's new to this job. He's pretty much a rookie at it. He's worked his way up at the club, and I just think, unfortunately, this whole thing, he's been caught up in it. Do you miss Gazidis? Absolutely not. No, and I never ever will miss Ivan Gazidis, and I'm delighted that this whole thing has come crashing down around him, because he's been bang at the heart of it all. Awful chief exec at Arsenal, and yeah, no, I don't miss him in the slightest. Jack Wilshere at the protest. I haven't heard that. Christian Guy. Did I just see? What have I seen there? Christian Guy. When we get in on the source. Sue mate. It's only got a couple of weeks now till the pubs are open out inside and outside again, isn't it? So yeah, wins a tear up. People talking about Jack Wilshere being at the protest. I haven't heard about that. That'd be good. Where have you seen that? People tell me where you've seen that. Is that a social media type thing? I mean, he hasn't got a club to play for at the moment, so may well do. I'm not giving a prediction for the Villarreal game. No way. I told you I'm too superstitious for that. Oh, he's at Bournemouth. Of course he is. Yeah, sorry, apologies there for Jack. Of course he got a club. Oh yeah, he's at Bournemouth. There's no way Jack can be at the protests if he's playing for Bournemouth, isn't he? It's like totally breaking all the COVID rules, going to a protest with thousands of people. Nah, he's not going to be there. Are you Kroenke out? Yes, absolutely. 100% on Kroenke out. Thoughts on the new Champions League format? I think it's pretty much... it's basically a Super League anyway. It's UEFA have certainly won out of this, managed to force, get this all through. They've got the Champions League format through. They've got new people in power in terms of the ECA, and they look like the saviours, and they're absolutely not the saviours. Far from it. Horrible company, corporation, corrupt. And now they're in even more power than they were before. So yeah, no, UEFA are certainly the winners out of this, unfortunately. And yeah, I do think the Champions League will be pretty boring, certainly the group stages, because the group stages are. I mean, I can understand some of the people involved in this. I've seen Florentino Perez talking utter rubbish today, but the one thing he did say that was remotely true was the group stages are never that interesting in the Champions League, and that's right. And this new format makes it even bigger. So yeah, I don't think it's going to make it more exciting, but it's going to make the clubs more money, and ultimately that's what they care about, isn't it? Oh, that's the question. What would you prefer, the 51% or Dangote? I think I prefer the 51%. The whole of football needs a reset. You go from one billionaire owner to another billionaire owner. You're just relying on them to do the right thing. Will they or won't they? You don't know. But if fans are involved, you know that mainly the fans will want to do the right thing for the club. So I think I'd certainly prefer the 51% than just another Dangote. I just think the whole thing needs a new reset. New rules need to come in about how football is governed in this country. Right, I'm going to take a couple more, guys, and then I'm going to head off because I've got a few things to do. I'm on the Arse Blog podcast in about half an hour. I'm sure lots of you listen to Arse Blog, so listen to that once it comes out. Me and Andrew catching up at 2:00. What numbers do you think will be there tomorrow? No idea. Who knows? I think it's going to be big, though. I think it's going to be probably the biggest protest we've seen this week from any of the clubs. I think it will be bigger than Chelsea. Just because we've had more days to get ready for it. Like I said, it's a Friday evening, it's sunny, everyone will be out drinking, I imagine. It's like I said, it's going to be a bit of a perfect storm for Arsenal, I think. Right, couple more, and then I'm gonna head. Someone's saying between 5 and 10,000. Is there a sorry, so everyone's asking, is there a chance of Stan Kroenke leaving? I have said that already in this broadcast about Stan Kroenke. I still think the most likely option is that he probably won't, just because it's Stan Kroenke, and he doesn't tend to do that. But you never know. This is suddenly he's losing money, or Arsenal are losing money, and his big cash cow, his dream of the Super League, has been canned. Will that affect him? Will he start to think differently about possibly selling Arsenal if he can? Does he think it's worth it anymore if he's not going to get the Super League, which has been his dream since he arrived? Then it might well do. Charles Watts for PM, whoever said that. Don't think you want that to happen, believe me. Do you know anyone going to the fan meeting today? Yes, I do. So we'll once that's all over, that will soon start to emerge what was said between Josh. I think Arsenal will put something out from it as well. They might even put a video out from Josh, but we'll have to wait and see. That's at 4:30 p.m. today. Right, everyone, I'm going to head off now. Like I said, I'm on the Arsecast podcast with Andrew at 2 o'clock, so I'm not sure what time he's putting that out, if it's today or tomorrow, but look out for that one. Enjoy the rest of this sunny day. Enjoy the game tomorrow, and if you are going to the protest tomorrow, make your voices heard, but remember, be safe, stay safe. Remember, there is a pandemic on, and do your best to avoid contact, all that, wear a mask, but be loud and make your voices heard. Enjoy the rest of your day, everyone. I will do a video tomorrow looking ahead to that Everton game and try my best to avoid talk about the European Super League. Till then, everyone, have a good day. Speak to you soon.